Alright, everybody, what's up? It's Big Hot Rod and L Train coming at y'all. Man, it's the T-Train show. Y'all know what time it is, man.
Welcome to another edition of 3 the Hard Way. You know how we like to do it. Got my fellas in the house once again, like we do every week, to get this thing going. First off, we got our guy, Mr. Coach, the influencer, Hot Rod, Mr. Rodney Young. What's going on, Rod?
What's going on, 3 the Hard Way Nation here on the tube that's called you. What's going on, 3 the Hard Way Nation on these TikTok streets? Y'all know who I am. I'm your friendly neighborhood coach. And as I always say, you may not like what I'm saying, but you will listen.
And on the broadcast with us, as always, is the captain of our ship, Mr. Terrence Austin T. What's going on in your world, man?
What's happening, L Train and Rod and those out there in TikTok Nation and 3 the Hard Way Nation? What's happening? Let's get this show rolling. Let's get it on. Let's get it going.
Hey, man, well, let's go ahead and start with this Cleveland Browns, Philadelphia Eagles game.
2-0 Browns, 2-0.
The Browns are 2-0 in the preseason, but everybody's kind of looking at the quarterback position, man. Everybody's looking at Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel and, just all the Huntley, all the talented quarterbacks that the Cleveland Browns has. That's kind of been the focus of training camp. Who's going to get that? I think it's safe to say that Flacco's number one, but who's going to be like the number two? What direction they're going to go? So Dillon Gabriel, who did not play last week, Shedeur got the majority of the quarters last week, got his opportunity, played a half of football for the Cleveland Browns. So I'm interested, fellas. I was going to pick up the phone and text you guys, but I was like, nah, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to get the smoke fresh on the broadcast, so we really haven't had a chance to talk about it. Give me your assessment of what you saw from Dillon Gabriel compared to what Shedeur did last week.
I'll go ahead and kick it off, fellas. He went 13 for 18 for 143 yards through one pick. How would I put it? First of all, I didn't know that guy was so small, man. He is small.
Tiny.
He's small. He's small. And not to take shots at him, because I've only seen him in highlights, okay? Highlight reels. Never seen him play. However, he went at it. Okay? Full of energy, pocket presence.
Yeah.
Commanded the offense. The one time, the missed handoff that led to a fumble, because we had 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
That was the second turnover. I put that on the running back. However, speaking of the running game, I was impressed with the running game, okay? I was impressed. The one kid, what's his name? Rushed for 93 yards, I believe. What's his name? Pierre Strong, or 89 yards. 13 carries for 89 yards. So with Quinshawn Junkins, it looks like he'll be in the mix,
He's
soon.
coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back. So the running game, the fun meter is back to 100 for me with that. Okay, so again, I like what the running game looked like. The offensive line looked pretty good. The wide receivers, played pretty good. To add to that, I was listening to, Cleveland radio every day, and they said they had a great week up there, training with the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. And they said Myles Garrett was on point. So he was in pure beast mode the whole week. So again, I think they got a great workout by,
Denzel Ward said they won the week. They won the week.
And several others said that. Yeah. Some national commentators said the same thing. Said the Browns look pretty good. So that's a good thing. You always like to go up against the best and be tested by the best. But getting back to yesterday, and I'm sure Rod will add to it. Like I say, Dillon didn't look bad, but man, he's small. So I'm really concerned, man. I really am. He's he's Kyler Murray, Doug Flutie size, but not as good as those guys. Those guys can ball, Those two can ball. Again, that's what I take from yesterday. So go ahead, Rod. Finish up what I left out there.
Give it to us, Hot Rod.
So here's the thing. For the 2 days, I'm gonna hold my real opinion on Dillon Gabriel, but let's just talk football right now.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
He looked average at best. Okay. He threw a really bad pick. That rolling out the pocket, that was a really bad pick. However, in the first series, he took them down the field He commanded, okay? And I watched him, and of course, I always do comparisons. So I'm going to give you a comparison, even though he was a right-handed quarterback. He reminds me a lot of Jeff Garcia.
Ooh.
Great comparison, man.
When I
Great
looked at him
comparison.
in the pocket and I looked at his movement, he reminded me of Jeff Garcia. Which Jeff Garcia wasn't a slouch. He wasn't the greatest, but he wasn't a slouch.
He wasn't a slouch, no.
Defense was all over the place. This Jim Schwartz defense is going to be flying. I don't know what happened last year.
They were physical, too.
Yeah, physical. They were throwing bodies. They were flying all over the place. But then I looked on the offensive side. I mean, Deontay Johnson finally showed up. Don't know where he came out of. He finally showed up. But Dillon Gabriel looked decent until the second quarter, second half, something like that. We had some snap penalties. The handoff, I agree with T. I'm not giving that to him. That's not on him. I know everybody else is going to put that on him. That's not on him. The running back has to be able to be open enough to get that handoff, and he did not open up wide enough to get that handoff, and that's why I got dumped. But in football, you always blame the quarterback first. But I'm looking at, did he look better than Shedeur? No, he didn't. Not at all. He looked average. This was his opportunity. And I know people will come and talk about, well, he played against the Eagles' first team defense. Not the entire game he didn't. And his turnovers and the mistakes that he made were with that second team, that second unit. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. There was a couple plays. He threw some dimes. Okay.
Yeah, he did.
When he had time in the pocket and he was able to move his feet, he threw some darts. So I'm not going to be overly critical of him of that. But did he put his best foot forward to become, the backup quarterback? No, he didn't. In terms of the practice this week, the word that I heard was dominate. That they dominated the practices during the week. It wasn't they just won the week. Everything that I've heard, they dominated. The Eagles Pro Bowl left tackle said it the best. He said, I did everything I could. He said, there was no way I could stop Myles Garrett. This guy is a monster. He said, and I did everything I could. And he was like, I'm not ashamed of what I put out there. He said, I just could not stop him. And so Denzel looked really good. These guys look good. However, I'm going to temper my excitement, guys, because it's preseason.
Preseason,
Yep.
Right.
It's preseason.
Dress
I'm just going to
rehearsal.
temper my excitement. I'm not going to get all through the roof, you know what I mean? But I'm glad to see that the Browns are fast and physical and out here moving bodies and being aggressive. So I'm very pleased with that.
This is why I love having a football coach on the show, because I like your assessment on the fumble where you said, it wasn't necessarily Dillon Gabriel's fault on the fumble. What I will say on the interception, and because I've watched that play over and over again, and Rod, I would like for you to go back and watch it, or maybe you are familiar enough with it where you could comment on it now. Like, I didn't think the interception was all Dillon Gabriel's fault either. There were two guys in the same area, and Dillon Gabriel rolls out. He throws the pass, and I believe the pass could have been caught. I can't remember who the wide receiver was, but he kind of went like this because he didn't know who was going to receive the ball. Then the defensive back kind of came in there and then just took it to the house, whether he should have thrown it or not. But that's just kind of what I saw from the replay.
Right.
For the Browns in this week coming out of Philadelphia, if this was just coming from the Cleveland Browns, I would say, okay, this is just their perspective of what they did during the week from the Philadelphia Eagles. Nobody's really going to come out and say that they were dominated. But I'm hearing it from national media guys and people that were at those practices as well.
Yes.
So regardless of whether the Cleveland Browns dominated or not, they obviously did something in Philly to open some eyes. And they came in with a sense of hunger. So in terms of the Cleveland Browns, I'm really proud of them for that respect. But going back to that interception, did you kind of see what I saw, Rod?
So here's how I'm gonna answer that. It was a twofold issue. The issue was yes, there were two receivers in the area, and that
I
never
think
should
Tillman
happen.
was one of them.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
never
Tillman
should
was one.
happen. You should never have two receivers. And I got right here on the TikTok Nation, I got a young man who I watched quarterback in high school, and he knows. He'll chime in. But you got two receivers running the same route in the same spot. One of those two receivers was wrong. Number two, when the ball is in the air, it doesn't make a difference as a receiver. You got to go get it. Go get it. And so if there's two guys in the play, one of them goes to gets it. Now, here is the problem with Dillon Gabriel. When he saw that, he should have never thrown that ball, because with two receivers in the same area, there's two defenders in that area as well. And what happened was the second defender undercut the first one, and that's how he was able to intercept the ball. That is something you throw away. Because he was rolling out, it was too much congestion. You got to throw that ball out of bounds. When I would coach quarterbacks, I would tell them, throw the ball away and live to throw another day. That's what you have to do. And so it was partly the receiver's fault, but it was also the quarterback's fault. Okay, they share blame on that. And I think when Kevin Stefanski sits down to film, the wide receivers coach is going to chew the wide receivers out, but the quarterback coach is going to tell him, you can't throw that ball. You got to, if you throw it in the dirt. You can't throw that ball. And so, but to give Kenny Gabriel some credit, what he's trying to do is he's trying to impress. So if he'd have made that ball, if one of those receivers would have caught that ball, we wouldn't even be talking about it. We'll say, oh, that was just a fabulous play. But because it turned into a pick, not just a pick, but a pick six, you have to break it down like that. But yes, you saw the same thing I saw. But at the end of the day, the quarterback's got the ball, and he's got to make that decision whether to throw it or not.
Right.
So he should have just threw that ball in the stands and went on ahead and reset.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go.
I know we're going to touch on this later on in the show, as well, especially with Rod's two-a-day. So I won't hit on it too hard. But I think, coming out of these Browns games, man, there's just a lot of narratives that really bothered me. Like I saw, I was watching ESPN, I was watching Fox Sports, and like the one narrative that came out of the preseason games about Dillon Gabriel is that he did a good job. I think that falls in line with Rod saying that he was average, because basically that's what he was. You can't turn the ball over as a quarterback, so he had the two turnovers, whether or not you think it was his fault or not. But I heard consistently that he didn't make the flashy play, but he made the right play pretty much the first half that he got. And people kept throwing around the word flashy and the right play, and I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from. And I'm being sarcastic when I'm saying that, because I get where it's coming from, but those are the words that I kept hearing. And then the one thing that bothered me, I wanted to pull up this quote because I wanted to make sure to get it right. Kevin Stefanski was asked about Shedeur's play, and he had a lot of comments to say about Shedeur, but the one thing that stood out is that he said about whether or not Shedeur would move up the depth chart. He said, and I quote, "We have a standard for that position, and really every position. There's a standard by which we play, and how we operate, and how we take care of the football. And those type of things, there are things that Shedeur can clean up, and there are things that he will clean up," end quote. My problem is, after a performance like Shedeur gave last week, and this has been kind of my problem with the Cleveland Browns and their brass. It's like they have a standard. Well, where's that standard been for quarterback? Like Joe Flacco leads you to a great season, you get rid of him.
Right.
Baker Mayfield leads you to the playoffs, you get rid of him. You bring in Deshaun Watson, who has a lot of baggage. You draft a 5'2" quarterback. You're throwing out the word standard, and I haven't seen that.
No, since Bernie Kosar.
Since Bernie Kosar. To come after that performance that Shedeur did last week, to throw out the word, well, he's not going to move up because we have a standard. Okay, that's well and fine. I just want to know what that standard is for Cleveland Browns quarterbacks, because I haven't seen a standard by which the Browns follow when it comes to that quarterback position. Am I right or am I wrong about that?
You're dead on, and I'll let you take it, Rob. And then the flashy, that's kind of code for something else, okay? And I don't want to go down into those weeds, okay? Again, you know what they say about, Deion, the Hall of Famer. They throw all those negative connotations at him, and kind of the same thing, with Shedeur. So, and I think it's going to lead to what Rod is going to say in 2 days too about some of the quotes, or the one quote that Dillon Gabriel said. So yeah, that flashy thing I don't like. That's a negative slur if you ask me. And then again, standard. No, we haven't had a standard since we were kids, man. Living on
No, it's
McCann,
been a while.
rooting for the Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while. So go ahead, Rod.
So
Yeah.
Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots had a standard.
Yes.
The Pittsburgh Steelers
Have a
a
standard.
standard.
Yes, sir.
The Kansas City Chiefs have a standard.
Talk to me,
The-
Rod.
The
Talk to me.
Philadelphia Eagles have
Have
a
a standard.
standard. The Cleveland Browns don't have a standard. They're still trying to figure that out. Kevin Stefanski is a high-priced car salesman. I will say that right now, because what he's saying, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, okay? Because you sit there and you say, well, you talk about Shedeur the way that you do, and you talk about not turning over the football, and against the Carolina Panthers, he didn't. But when you talk about Dillon Gabriel, he did. Whether it was his fault or not, he turned the ball over. Here is what the issue is, guys. Dillon Gabriel's a third-round pick. Dillon Gabriel is Kevin Stefanski's pick. Shedeur Sanders is not. So that's where your narrative has been bent, okay?
There you go.
Son of Prime. That's what they calling him. That's what they're gonna call him. Son of Prime, okay? But the kid can compete. And like I said, I'll get my 2 days with Dillon Gabriel's comment. I'll get in that in a minute. I'm sitting stewing, waiting on that one. But the bottom line is Kevin Stefanski has his agenda. Shedeur Sanders is putting monkey wrenches in that agenda. He's putting
That's a
monkey
great way to
wrenches
put
in
it.
it. That's what he's doing. And Kevin can't run from it, okay? If they try to put Shedeur on a practice squad, all hell is going to break loose. Very simple. The Browns are going to carry 4 quarterbacks. I'm telling you that right now. They're going to carry all 4 of them. One of those quarterbacks is going to be on the practice squad, okay? But they're going to carry 4 because they're not going to get rid of Shedeur because that would be a PR nightmare. Nightmare.
Will be.
They will not get rid of Shedeur Sanders. He has made this ball club. Kenny Pickett has a problem. I don't care what I'm hearing everybody saying how much the Browns love Kenny Pickett. He has not been on the field. Joe Flacco is going to be the starter. So now you got a 3-horse race, okay? But Kevin Stefanski is a car salesman. He tells people what he believes that they need to hear, and he tells folks because he believes he's the most intelligent guy in the room. But he talks out of both sides of his mouth. So the bottom line is this. I want Shedeur to keep throwing ice cubes in that fire that Kevin Stefanski is trying to set. Okay? And y'all also, I may get into this, later on, but I texted y'all. Did y'all see the exchange that Shedeur had with my favorite reporter, Tony Grossi?
Tony Grossi, yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it wasn't adversarial. I saw the whole clip. And
No,
what
they
he
were
was,
laughing,
He was
smiling.
laughing and joking with him, just saying, hey,
Yeah.
Tony, what did I do to you? You know what I mean? What have I done to you? But he's even changing Tony's mind. If you listen to some of the comments that he made after the Carolina game, he's starting to change his mind. Shedeur Sanders is a problem to the Cleveland Browns. But when we get back to that standard, there ain't no standard in Cleveland. Just like T said, the last standard was Marty Schottenheimer.
And Bernie
Yeah.
Kosar.
Marty,
Mhm.
Bernie, and even Bud Carson. You can go back to Bud Carson. That's
And
when there was
Forrest
a
Gregg.
standard. Yes. That's
And
when there was a
Forrest Gregg.
standard. Since then, there has been
Hasn't
no
been.
standard in
Yeah.
Cleveland.
And listen, 3 the Hard Way Nation. We're 3 Cleveland brothers,
From
man,
Cleveland.
that bleed orange and brown. And I know it seems like we're overly critical of the Cleveland Browns, but that's just kind of the love that we have for the team. And you're going to get it real here on 3 the Hard Way.
There you
When
go.
they're doing good, we're going to say they're doing good. When they're saying bad, but we're not going to let certain people make comments. Right now,
Right.
we're on Kevin Stefanski. We'll get
Right.
to some more comments later, but we're not going to let people blow smoke, man, because when I heard the standard comment, I'm like, man, you
Yeah.
guys have had 40 different starting quarterbacks
Right.
since 1999.
Right.
Yeah.
How can you come out and say that there's a standard for the Cleveland Browns at the quarterback position?
Yeah, and again, like you all, I bleed orange and brown. I'm just wearing this Oilers hat because it matches my shirt. I will not wear this out of my house. I will not wear this out of my house. That's it. Cleveland Cavaliers, Cleveland Guardians, and Cleveland Browns and Buckeyes. That's the only thing you'll see me in.
And
That's it.
I think the reason that we are as critical as we are is because, like you said, because we have the love for
Yes, sir.
our Cleveland sports.
We're from
and my
there.
thing is, since living here in Arizona and still following Cleveland sports, the one thing I noticed about some Cleveland fans is they're complacent with mediocrity. You know, where that mediocre stuff takes place and they get complacent with it. And I'm a Cleveland fan. I'm not complacent. If we don't go to the Super Bowl, that's not a good season. If we don't win the NBA championship, that's
I'm
not
right
a good
there with you.
season. If we don't go
Right.
to the World Series, that's not a good
Right.
season. And so that's the mindset that I have. Herm Edwards say you play the game
win the
to
game,
win.
to win.
That's why you play it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I've got a good question from Jill from Norwood, Michigan. She's a Cleveland Browns fan living in Michigan.
oh,
More
bless her
power
heart.
to you, Jill.
Bless her
Uh,
heart.
Yeah. She said, is the QB battle hurting offensive cohesion, or do you think it's actually fueling healthy competition? That's a good question.
I think fueling healthy competition because those other guys are playing their role. You know, the wide receivers, the tight end, the offensive line, and they want the best guy under center. I said at the very beginning, I want the best guy under center. In addition with that, though, I'm rooting for Shedeur, okay? He was a 5th-round pick. He dropped in the draft, and the kid can play, and I love a comeback story. But to answer Jill's question, you know, again, I'm sure those guys want the best guy under center, just like we do.
For me, it's fueling a competition. My only problem with it is it really a competition? That's what I have to look at. Okay, is it really a quarterback competition? I mean, is Shedeur, we're not in the inside of the rooms. I would love to be in the war room and how they're talking about how they're judging these quarterbacks. I really would. I love to hear from Kevin Stefanski. I love to hear from their quarterbacks coach. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, we've heard from the team. The team has told you who they want. The team wants Joe Flacco as the starter and they want Shedeur as the backup. They already have said it. Now, it's just whether the Cleveland Browns as an organization is going to listen to what they're saying, okay? I got a comment here from our TikTok Nation. Tiffany, y'all know who this is. Tiffany Smedley says, it should be a competition. If it's not, then that tells it all.
Yes.
She's right.
That's a great statement.
Okay.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. She's right.
Yeah.
Great way to put it.
All right. Keep it coming, TikTok Nation. All right. I like that. Go
Listen,
ahead.
for me, when it comes to this football stuff, man, I always acquiesce to the hot rod because you've coached it. Like, I've watched the game for years, but if you put me on the football field, man, I wouldn't know where to begin to teach all the intangibles, the X's and O's and all that stuff. So that's why I lean on hot rod. For me, when I look at the two quarterbacks in question, that's Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, man, it just looks different.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Shedeur, I try to give things the eye test.
Right.
All right. And I have I coach a different sport, but I have a little bit of coaching acumen in me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I just look at who is going to win you the big play, who's a playmaker when adversity hits, who's going to arise to the occasion. And to be able to view those two quarterbacks, one last week in Shedeur, then this week in Dillon Gabriel, and as Dillon Gabriel did not play awful, even if he would not have thrown that interception or had a fumble, I would still come out of that game saying, man, it just looks different.
Right.
You guys see what I'm seeing? Am
Yeah.
I wrong
Oh, yeah.
about that?
No, you're definitely right, and that's what I have to go on is the eye test because like you two gentlemen, I don't coach, but I trust my eyes because I lead
Yep.
sailors and Marines.
There you
So
go.
I trust my eyes when it comes to getting the job done. So you're spot on. You're right, and as a Browns fan, diehard Browns fan, I was rooting for the kid to do good because I want my team to win. So it's not like I went into the game when I, watched it. Okay, I don't want him to look as good as what, Shedeur did last week. Yeah, I want him to look good. I want my team to win. I'm rooting for him. But when it comes down to it, because gentlemen, the season is what, a couple weeks away? We're
Nice.
here. yeah, we're here. It's time to get this thing on. Again, like I say, I break my neck on Sundays to get out of church to get in front of the TV. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready, and I want the best for us. Want the best.
So it boils down to this game against the Rams that's coming up, this final preseason game, is we're going to see what's what. We're going to see, they're going to have to show their hand soon. And it's going to come around to where they got to show it against the Rams. And so, no, the thing is that we're not at practice. Okay, we don't see what's going on at practice. We see clips from Mary Kay Cabot and all of those reporters on the sideline, Zach Jackson, all those guys, but we're not there. And me as a former football coach, I can't. I don't like really speculating. But to answer your question, L, it does not seem right. It does not seem like, everything is going the right way. It's just a bad feeling. But like I said, Shedeur, to his credit, has kept his head down, and he's just continued to work. And he's done other than the speeding tickets, which people get, the kids, he's a kid, they do that.
Yeah.
He's done everything the right way. You understand? And like I said, if the Browns try to get rid of him, it will be a PR nightmare. There will not be anybody. There will not be anybody in that stadium. Yep, there'll be nobody in Brook Park. There will be nobody in Brook Park. And that's why
They'll be able to land jets there.
Right, and that's why I'm saying on the backside, Jimmy Haslam has his hand in this, okay? Jimmy Haslam has his hand in this because the key is him getting to Brook Park. And so he's letting Kevin and he's letting Andrew Berry do their thing, but Shedeur Sanders is right now, he's must-see TV. Do you guys know that the ratings came out and it was the highest rated game on NFL Network? It was the highest rated preseason game.
Going back years.
I heard that.
Yeah, going back years. I heard that
it
this
was
week.
the highest rated game. So I would love to see the ratings from this game compared to Shedeur's game. He has the number one selling jersey in the NFL. A rookie, a fifth round rookie has the number one selling jersey. He's going to put butts in the seats. So the Browns, now, like I said, I love my Browns, but my Browns find new and creative ways of being stupid. And so if they try to put him on the practice squad, there's going to be a problem, okay? He's working his way in, and they have tried their best to suppress this young man, and all he's kept doing is working. So, no, it is weird. It's weird, L Train. It's weird.
Yeah. Charlie from Riverview, Ohio, states, he said, we've got Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, now Tyler Huntley. With Deshaun Watson looking like he is ahead of schedule coming back, is there any possible situation he returns to being QB1 of this team? I know we talked a little bit about that last week, but that's the question that we got. Charlie from Riverview, Ohio. You guys want to speak on that?
Go ahead, Rod.
Yeah, he'll be QB1, but not with the Cleveland Browns. He'll be QB1 somewhere else. Somebody's going to take a chance.
So you're saying zero. So you're saying zero chance, Hot Rod?
Yeah,
well, I'll say there is a 1.1% chance that Deshaun Watson is quarterbacking or under center in Cleveland. That is, Joe Flacco gets hurt, Kenny Pickett gets hurt, Dillon Gabriel is on crutches, and Shedeur Sanders has a cast on his arm. That's the only way that's going to happen. And they probably would go to Bailey Zappi before they went to Deshaun Watson. Now, I'm being a little sarcastic, but and he put the video out, and he's running, and he's doing his thing. And now, like I said, the Browns find new and creative ways of doing things differently. Deshaun Watson, now, it's going to come up because they have to do a reevaluation, and if he's able to go, then they cannot put him on the injured reserve. They can't do it. So they're going to have to do another examination. If he's good to go, he's good to go. Now, that turns everything into a conundrum because now you're carrying 5 quarterbacks, okay? And so now what are you going to do? Now, the fan base in Cleveland, there is no way in hell that they want to see Deshaun Watson again.
No.
Okay?
They're done with him.
No way.
They're done with him.
No way. They're done with him. But is the organization done with him? if they put in an emergency situation, would they throw him in? Sure would.
Yeah, they will.
They
Yeah,
sure
will.
would.
Yep.
Especially if
Too
they're
much money
winning.
not to.
If they're winning,
Exactly.
if they're winning and their quarterbacks go down, they will throw him in. If they're not, the only way they would throw him in is because they want to use him as trade bait. That's the only way they would throw Deshaun Watson in, is so that NFL teams can see that he's healthy and possibly trade him. But I think it's a 1.1% chance that Deshaun Watson is under center in Cleveland.
Yep. Any comments on that, T?
No, I'm with Rod, and how would I put it? I didn't know he was running, and I didn't see him on the sideline this game. Did you guys? I saw him,
I did not.
against
No.
Carolina. I didn't see
No.
him this game. But like I said, his best performance as a Brown was second half against the Baltimore Ravens, when he went 10 for 10, and we beat the Ravens in their backyard. Other than that, I haven't seen anything out of the young man, but I wish him well. What's going to happen is he'll eventually end up on another team somewhere and play pretty good. We just didn't get it out of him. It was a bad time for him to be a Cleveland Brown. Again, I understand why the organization went with it. I supported it. We were desperate. We needed a quarterback, but it just didn't work out. Time to move on. He's an afterthought with me. I sometimes forget that he's on our roster. I do.
Absolutely.
Rod. I forget. I forget.
I will.
Yeah.
I will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this. This is we are banking on common sense, decision making, and right now the same organization that we're banking on to make this decision has Shedeur Sanders listed as the 4th-string quarterback of the team.
Right,
the same people. So I will say this. I do think there is a chance. And I do think there's a chance, and T, you said it last week, that you don't think that Joe Flacco will play 17 games.
Yeah, he won't last that long.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so either. And if that happens, all bets are off. In my mind, it should be Shedeur. But if Joe Flacco goes out there, I don't necessarily right now, their credit is not good with me. On a credit report, their credit would be about 450.
Couldn't rent an apartment. Could have rented an apartment with them. Not even a 1-bedroom. In the hood, you couldn't rent one.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't trust them to make the right decision. So that puts Deshaun Watson in play, and it really puts him in play because they're not going to be able to get rid of him. They're not, at least not this year. So what do you do with a healthy Deshaun Watson? Like right now, you really can't do nothing with him because you got Joe Flacco there, man. But if Joe Flacco goes down, all bets are off on what the Cleveland Browns are going to do with Deshaun Watson. I'm calling it right now, man.
Our show will be 2 hours. It'll be a 2-hour show. It'll be good for us.
Yeah. Laura from Crestwood, Illinois, she said, man, I love the Cleveland Browns. Great show, fellas. With Nick Chubb gone, is Cleveland's backfield now a total unknown?
Not with what I saw, yesterday. And with Quinshawn coming back, I see a bright side. I see light at the end of the tunnel. So don't count us out. Again, I see that on the up and up. I really do. I do. Going forward, I do. I see it on the up and up.
And I echo that. I think with Quinshon Judkins coming back, and then you have Sampson in the backfield,
Pierre Strong.
And Pierre Strong took a step forward, but my only concern, and we've talked about this before, is who is the adult in the room. You got a lot of young-minded running backs. And that's why I said that's where you needed a Nick Chubb. Not just the fact that, he could run the football, but the fact that he's an adult. The fact that he's a professional. He knows how to. I truly believe that if Nick Chubb was in that room, we're not talking about Quinshon Judkins. We're not, because that type of professionalism rubs off on you. Okay? But in terms of, just to answer the question of the running back room, by Judkins coming back, I'm more at ease that we're gonna have some quality runners back there. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I'll say this to you, fellas. I spent the last week in the Minnesota Vikings practice with the New England Patriots, and I had an opportunity to see Trayvon Henderson up close. That's a miss for the Cleveland Browns. That dude is if he can stay healthy, the way he's running the football against the front that the Minnesota Vikings had in those 2 joint practices that I was at, and he scored a touchdown in the preseason game, and he returned a 100-yard kick the week before. Man, Travion Henderson's not playing around.
Right.
He's bringing all his. No one has ever said that he's not a good back, even when he came to Ohio State.
Right.
His deal was, can he stay healthy? And that's why the Ohio State Buckeyes brought in Junkins to kind of spell him a little bit, to split some of those carries. Man, he's putting in work. Have you guys been watching him with the New England Patriots?
I've heard you talk about him a couple times. Yeah, I've heard. And he's showing up and saying, I'm gonna let the league see me. And that's what he's doing. Yeah. That's what he's doing.
My only thing with Travion Henderson, and of course y'all know I'm a big Buckeyes guy, and I watched the Buckeyes and I watched him. The only knock on him is he has a tendency to be injury prone. I know his first couple of years at Ohio State, he was very injury prone, and he's not a consistent in between the tackle guy. I mean, he's speed. Don't get me wrong. If Travion Henderson gets to the outside, you got problems.
Who does he remind you of, Rod? Yeah, who does he remind you of?
From a comparison, he honestly has. He's kind of unique. You know what I mean? He's got elite speed. I mean, elite. If Travion Henderson wasn't a running back, he could easily be a wideout, a slot receiver. He's got that kind of speed. I look at him kind of. If you want to give a comparison, and I'm not saying this is who he is. This is just somebody who I'm throwing out here is Thurman Thomas.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Okay. Thurman Thomas. I got DJ P Rock on here. There's a Bills fan saying, Bills Mafia all day. It's funny. But no. I see a bit of Thurman Thomas because Thurman Thomas had that speed.
Number 34.
Now, the only thing about Thurman could run in between the tackles, but if Thurman Thomas got to the outside, boy, it was a problem. And that's what I see with Travion Henderson. Travion Henderson on the outside is a problem. My thing is, can you consistently pound him inside? That's the thing. That's the difference between him and Junkins, because Junkins can run inside. He's a power back. You know what I mean? And so he can get to the outside, but not like Travion Henderson. But I agree with L Train. I know he ain't playing. I watched him in one of his preseason games. He ain't playing at all.
No, he ain't playing around. The quarterback competition in New York is heating up as well. Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart. And again, man, I give Hot Rod some credit because once the draft came, like Jackson Dart wasn't even on my radar. Then we did 3 the hard way, and you were like, oh man, watch out for this kid because he's putting on the showing with the Giants, fellas. He's putting on the showing with the Giants. Mm-hmm. This battle has been going back and forth. It's been pretty even, but they always say if things are even, if your rookie is just as good as your veteran, go with the rookie.
Right.
Yeah, and right now, Jackson Dart, I don't think he's going to start the year. But I think Russell Wilson's going to have a short lease. Have you guys been paying attention to that?
Yeah, I've been hearing about that. And, they got that guy I love, Neighbors, that wide receiver.
Yes,
sir.
He
is something, man. He is something. But I see Russ winning that job. But like you say, he's on a short lease. But it's going to come down to, what the coach and what management wants going forward. And then dealing with that New York media, that they have a say in things too. The power of the media. I mean, not the media and the fans. The media and the fans. But I think Russ is going to start off. But again, he's on a short lease. He's on a real short lease. Real short lease. Yep.
Russell Wilson and T is being nice saying on a short leash. He's on a string. He's on a string.
That's above the snap. That's above the snap.
Yeah. He's on a string. He's got one time. Russell Wilson can't have a bad game. It's not if Jackson Dart is playing the way that it's being said that he's playing.
And he's only going to get better. Dart's only going to get better.
That string, because you're looking at the downside of Russell Wilson and you're looking at the ceiling of Jackson Dart. So I'm telling you right now, it ain't no leash. You right, that's dental floss, bro. That's what's going on with him, and it's very short. So, but I do give Russell Wilson credit. He's a professional. So if that happens, he's gonna make sure Jackson Dart is prepared for what the NFL. And really, I'm gonna be honest with you, the Giants don't have nothing to lose. They don't. You know what I mean? Yeah, Malik Neighbors, he's still under contract. He's still under his rookie deal, so he can cry and moan all he want. He's there. You know what I'm saying? But the Giants are rebuilding. No, to answer the question, yeah, he's on dental floss. Floss.
Yes.
Yeah, great questions. Great questions this week and topics to hit here on 3 the Hard Way. Please hit that like and subscribe button. We didn't get an opportunity to touch on this topic last week, but I want to talk about, we got a big game coming up, fellas. We got our Ohio State Buckeyes.
Texas.
And we got those Texas Longhorns. Texas, I believe this is the first time Texas has been rated number 1 to start the preseason. And you couldn't find a tougher game for our Ohio State Buckeyes. Just looking at the transition as quarterback, defense coordinator, you can throw all those obstacles out there all you want. If you want to use them as an excuse, use them as an excuse, but they are relevant. And you got the Texas Longhorns that should be highly motivated because the Buckeyes beat them in the playoffs last year. You guys looking forward to this game? What is your expectations? What do you think the results are going to be?
I'm really looking forward to it because the narrative a couple of weeks ago, L Train and Rod, was that Arch Manning wasn't going to come out. He was going to play this whole year, his first year as a starter in Texas, and then he was going to play next year because the Browns may be waiting there to select him. And then, of course, that allowed everybody to beat up our Browns again, beat us up. So that just got me hot under the collar, or, got my back, the hairs on my back standing up. I say, you know what? Ohio State's going to kick this kid's rear end, kick that team's rear end, so they'll quiet the talk that he's going to be the number 1 pick after they see what he looks like up against our Buckeyes,
That's right.
Because, again, they were taking shots saying, hey, he's gonna, stay in. And I understand grandpa who knows football, looking out for his grandson. I get it. And not wanting him to have anything, to do with the Browns. But then again, I take offense to that as a Browns fan, So getting to the game at hand, I can't wait. Ohio State's going to get him. Is Arch Manning good? Yeah, he is. He's good. He's real good. But this will be a first for him, too. Playing, in the horseshoe up against who I think is the best team in college football, our Buckeyes. So I can't wait to see that happen. Ohio State's going to get him, and the whole country's going to watch. Everybody's going to see it. We're going to get him.
All right. So
yeah, we're going to get him, Rod.
I'm going to separate. I'm going to separate a little emotion.
All feeling coming from me.
We
coming in.
a little
All feeling
emotional.
from me. Fan feeling coming from me. Yeah, sure it is.
T fired up. T want to
man.
suit up and go ahead and play right now. That's where he at. But so
get me back in my uniform.
I'm coming from this standpoint. Steve Sarkisian is a very, very good football coach, and I think he made some mistakes in the game last year against the Buckeyes that this is a redemption game for him. So I believe a lot of this is going to come down between Sarkisian and Ryan Day. One thing you got to understand is this Buckeye team, although you got that doggone robot, that cyborg by the name of Jeremiah Smith on the outside,
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? You still got a relatively young group that's coming back. Julian Sane, first year under center. Defense had to be retooled because they lost, Jack Sawyer, Tolomalu, all those guys. Now they still have the All-American back there, at safety. However, I do think the Buckeyes will win this game. I think it's going to be close. I think Arch is a very good quarterback. He really is.
Yeah,
and I think,
he is.
When you listen to him talk, he's a humble kid. You can't help but root for him. Although I know he's of royalty, he's the Manning. But
I love all the Mannings. I love them all.
But the kid can play. He can go. And he brings a dynamic that Quinn Ewers didn't. He brings that read option. Okay, because Arch can run, and so he brings that dynamic. Okay, so I'm saying the Buckeyes will win this. This is a test. I'm glad, honestly, that it starts in the beginning of the season, because if the Buckeyes stumble, they still have the entire year to climb back up. Yeah. So I'd rather this game take place right now than in the middle of the season. But I think the Buckeyes, and I believe it's in the horseshoe, so I think, Buckeyes play well at home. First game, going to be hyped up. I think they'll be able to handle Texas. in that game. I do think it's going to be close. And I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a pretty close game, but I think the Buckeyes will win that game.
Yeah, I was on the side of a while ago that the Ohio State Buckeyes probably would drop that game. Since I've been watching like all of their training camp, like I've been really in tune with this quarterback battle, as they call it, and who's going to be our next quarterback. Man, Julian Sain can spin that thing. Now, if you want to come to me about, he doesn't have, a lot of experience, okay, I'll go with that, but I don't think that's going to supersede his production on the football field. I think Ohio State is going to be able to score on everybody.
Right.
Everybody. And I don't think they're going to have a game this year where they score less than 20 points a game. That's how potent I think their offense is going to be. I will debate this into the ground. I think their offense is going to be better than their offense last year in terms of point. In terms of point production, I think the transition of defensive coordinator is huge. I think the Buckeyes are going to be able to score on people, but the question is going to be whether or not teams, really, really good offenses, can score on the Buckeyes, because there is a difference of philosophy with Matt Patricia. Two really good defensive coordinators the Buckeyes will have had the last 2 years. But I do think the Ohio State Buckeyes, I agree with Rod, close game, high-scoring game. I think the game is going to be high 20s, low 30s. I think that's what we're going to see. But I look at this Ohio State Buckeye offense as being really, really potent. I love what I'm seeing from Julian Sain. I know they haven't, at least I haven't heard that they have announced that he's going to be QB1. Ryan Day likes to take these quarterback battles.
They haven't announced that. They haven't.
Yeah,
they haven't announced
way longer than he should. I mean, to me, Keenholz is a good quarterback, but he's nowhere near the level of a Julian Sain. He'll be QB1, and I think the Buckeyes are going to be victorious on August 30th. Yeah. Enough for the Buckeyes. We covered that. We've got, the one thing I used to dread when I played basketball, fellas, is that I used to dread Mr. Max two-a-days. We used to have to get up in the morning, go to Warrensville High School. We used to have to run the bleachers outside in the football stadium, go to class, and then come back after class with a hard practice. But Mr. Max two-a-days has nothing on the influencers two-a-days. Mr. Hot Rod, I mean, he makes Mr. Max two-a-days look like a picnic. So now we're going to see who Hot Rod needs to put into his two-a-days. Hot Rod, take it, man. Who is in your two-a-days this week?
Now, let me go ahead and get myself prepared for these two-a-days here. So, first things first, Travis Hunter. I watched the preseason game. Travis Hunter was on playing defense, and he talked about that if he couldn't play defense, that he would stop playing football and all that good stuff. And I watched him absolutely whiff on a tackle on the outside in the C gap, and he came up to hit the running back. I think it was the back that they got that was from Iowa, and that dude stiff-armed him and made him look like a little kid. And so, yes, Travis Hunter is going into the Coach Young two-a-days. You need to get back and do some tackling drills, bruh. You the Heisman Trophy winner. Come on now. We got to do better than that. All right?
Get to Hot Rod's two-a-days, Travis Hunter. Wait a minute, Rod, before you go on. You going to make this man come to two-a-days and play on both sides of the ball?
Wow.
No, because my thing is eventually he needs to decide that he's better actually on the offensive side of the ball. And he gonna make more money on the offensive side of the ball, and he will defensively. Listen, the NFL game is different. I understand that he's got stamina out the way, but when we get into a 17-game season and you talking about taking snaps on both sides of the ball, and they can use him on special teams as well, come on, kid. We just gotta be smart for longevity's sake. He's got to decide to be on one side of the ball or not. So, yes, he coming to two-a-days.
Got to let go of that big ego. Let go of that big ego.
He coming to two-a-days.
He's got a really big ego.
All right.
Yeah, who else you got coming to two-a-days?
So my next one coming to two-a-days, I'm going to say the best for last. My next one coming to two-a-days is the former Browns quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That dude had the most awful performance that I have seen in a preseason game. And I'm sure Andrew Berry was over there with his hands in his pockets and his back turned so that people couldn't pay attention that he was the one that picked this dude. This dude needs to switch to wide receiver, tailback, or something, because quarterback is not his profession. He need to find something else to do, because I'm telling you, he looked absolutely terrible. So he may not need need 2-a-days. He might need 3-a-days. Okay. He might need to come to
DTR,
3-a-days.
Get to 2-a-days.
Right.
What else you got, Rod?
And finally is Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel said he made a statement to Aditi Kinkhabwala yesterday after he came off the field. She was interviewing him and he made a statement, said, there are entertainers and there are competitors. And listen,
Yikes.
First of all, dude, you're 5'0", 100 and nothing, okay?
Oh.
You threw a pick 6, all right? You fumbled the other snap. You didn't have a great game. You don't have the authority to talk about what Shedeur Sanders did. You don't, and for me as a coach, if I heard that, me and Dillon Gabriel would have a conversation, because you don't throw your teammate under the bus like that. That to me is classless. You don't have any class. You talking about entertainers, the competitors. No, we ain't doing that. And so your 2-a-days, Mr. Gabriel, is not going to be on the field. Your 2-a-days is going to be how to address the media. That's going to be your 2-a-days, sir, because you don't have the right or reason to ever shoot darts at somebody like that, bro. I watched your last game against Ohio State when you was at Oregon. You are the last one to say anything about anybody. You can barely see over the line of scrimmage, kid. So let's stop talking as if you're 6'7" and you can throw a howitzer for a football. Yes, Dillon Gabriel, I need you to settle down right now. I need you to go back and stay in your lane, settle down. Glad you made the NFL, but you don't have the right to take shots at anybody. First of all, you need to stand on a chair to be able to look at Shedeur in the face. So to say anything about him, you can't. Y'all know I'm for all the smoke. He got 2-a-days coming.
Oh, wow.
The alarm clock is ringing, Dillon Gabriel.
Wow.
Get up and get to 2-a-days. Now you know how slick people are, Hot Rod and T. You know how slick they are. He never came out and mentioned Shedeur by name.
Right. But
He just kind of put it out there.
But we
But
know
then
who
the
he
word
was talking
flat,
about.
We know.
He wasn't talking about Myles Garrett. He wasn't talking about Denzel Ward. He
Maybe
wasn't
he's talking about Joe Flacco. He could have been
He ain't doing that. He ain't doing that. He made it, and then I seen when the statement came out, there's people, watch the media gonna blow it out of proportion. It ain't blowing it out of proportion. We 3 Warrensville Heights kids. If somebody says something like that slick, we gonna be like, well, wait a minute, hold up, bro. We gonna approach them in the locker room the next day. Hey, man, I heard that. I heard what you said. You know, hey, bro.
Yeah.
What's up with that? You know what I'm saying? But to me, that's not a good teammate. You showed your stripes. And my wife always said this to me. People will be who they are. And as much as they love Dillon Gabriel, talking about a nice guy he is, he took a subtle shot at a teammate. That shows me who you are. Now the real you have come out. And it also tells me you're panicking. You're in a panic because you know that this young man is better than you. You know he's better than you. You know he's proven himself to be better than you. So what he's waiting on, he's hoping that Kevin Stefanski loves him enough that he'll try to do something and you know, do some shenanigans. But right now, by Dillon Gabriel taking that shot, that is desperation. He knows he's in trouble.
Yeah, feeling that pressure, man. Feeling that pressure.
So, yeah.
Hot Rods 2-a-days. I love it, man. You got some good people in your 2-a-days. Hopefully they'll come out for the better. This week, it is the captains start 1, bench 1, cut 1, erase 1. I have to admit, I'm a little afraid of this one because I kind of heard when we were going through pre-production, something that he was thinking about. He put that on the shelf to come with something else. So this something else, man, I'm a little bit nervous about, but I'm ready for T.I.
All right.
I ain't scared.
Right.
Here
All
we
right.
go.
For this week's start 1, bench 1, cut 1, erase 1, we're going to the world of college football.
Okay.
Specifically, the quarterback position, okay?
All right.
Quarterback position of college football. And we're going to go all the way back to, how would I put it? The early 80s, I believe, okay?
Ooh.
We're going to go back to the early 80s up until now, because I don't know if you all saw, I forgot what publication it was, but last week they came out with the #1 college quarterback, okay? Now, again, don't get it confused with what their game transcended or translated to in the pro game.
Yeah.
Some of these guys didn't even make it, in the pros, but we're talking about just college quarterback, okay? So start one, bench one, cut one, erase one. First name I'm going to throw out there is Tommy Frazier. Y'all remember him?
Oh,
With those
yeah.
Nebraska
Nebraska,
Cornhuskers?
yeah.
Oh, man, that was a dominant team, okay? So Tommy Frazier is the first one. Second one is Cam Newton. Cam Newton, okay?
Woo.
And I don't know if you all knew, on that Auburn team that he played with, he was the offense because none of those guys made it to the pros. I think there was one offensive lineman that had a short stay with the Detroit Lions, and that's it. Cam was that offense, okay? So Cam Newton. Third person, none other than Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow, okay? Tim Tebow. And to mix it up, again, just in college, let's go with Vince Young. Vince Young.
All right, so you got Tommy Frazier, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow,
and Vince Young. Vince Young. So go ahead, y'all. Go ahead.
All right, Hot Rod.
This the
Hot
first
Rod,
one that I kind of
first.
had to stew on a little bit.
I know Tim knew what he was doing.
I had to think about this. Right. So I'm going to start Vince Young. I am going to bench Cam Newton. I am going to cut Tommy Frazier. This is a rough one. And I'm gonna have to erase Tim Tebow. That's a good one,
Wow.
T. You got me stewing on that one. That was a good one, bro.
Gotcha.
That was a
I'll
good
give
one.
you some credit, T.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
This is tough. I will agree with Hot Rod. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start Vince Young. I'm gonna start Vince Young. I am going to bench Tommy Frazier. I am going to cut Tim Tebow, and I'm going to erase Cam Newton.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Wow.
You're going to have to show, like in math, when the teacher say you got to show your work after those problems.
Yeah,
you got
man.
to show your work, L-Train, on
You
this
got
one.
to show your work on that
You
one.
got to show your work.
Listen, man, it was a tough one. I think after you get past Vince Young, I think any one of those three spots are interchangeable. I chose Tim Tebow because there was one moment in Tim Tebow's career that I just really respect. When the Florida Gators, I can't remember who they lost to, but the team didn't play well. Tim Tebow didn't play well.
Yeah.
And he goes up to the podium and he says, it was almost Muhammad Ali-esque. Babe Ruth, I'm going to hit the home run on the next pitch. He said, I put this on my shoulders. It was not up to standard. This will never happen again. And the Florida Gators run the table. You're talking about putting yourself out there, man.
Yeah.
Putting yourself out there to say that this will never happen again. Cam Newton, it's hard. Cam Newton's college career was stellar. You can even argue that his pro career was very good as well until the later parts of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the conversation for MVP, all that kind of stuff. But I know that doesn't come into the equation. But that's my reason why I gave Tim Tebow the nod over Cam.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, here you go. I'm going to close it out. I'm going to start Tebow. I'm going to start Tim Tebow. And in this publication that just came out a couple days ago, he was voted the best college football quarterback. Okay.
Ever?
Yeah, he was. So
wow.
Go check it out. Yeah. And how would I put it? What game was that where he got his face cracked and he took his helmet off and he looked like Frankenstein? He had blood everywhere.
Yeah.
What game was that? Yeah. That came to mind when I heard it, and the guys were kind of talking about that. But yeah, I would go with Tebow, but there's a lot of room for argument. It really is. There's a lot of room for argument. Because again, but let me go ahead and finish. I'll start Tebow. I'm gonna bench Tommy Frazier. Okay, I'm gonna bench Frazier. I'm going to, and this was tough. I'm going to cut Cam. I'm gonna cut Cam. Cam Newton. This is tough. Erase Vince Young. But I mean, he was, he was something, man. He was pretty good in the NFL. He just didn't get along. Jeff Fisher. That's a whole nother,
Why
segment
you wearing
to
that
talk
Oilers
about.
hat? Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Where that Oilers at. I love the colors. But yeah, that's mine, man. I tell you. A tough one. This was a tough
That's
one.
tough.
I was gonna
That's
try to
tough.
make it easy.
Nah.
And throw Tom Brady in there as one, and he would have been easy to erase, okay,
Yeah.
from
I'd
his
have
college
erased him
career.
quick.
He'd have
Exactly.
College career, yeah,
easily,
he'd got it
yeah. And
erased.
I said we all would do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, for me, again, it was starting Tebow, benching Frazier, cutting Cam, and erasing, Vince Young. That's a tough one, man.
But
That was a tough
it's
one.
always a good one when you have us three on here and all of our start one, bench one, cut one, erase ones are different.
Right,
Like this was
exactly.
all over the gamut, man. This
Yeah.
was
Exactly.
good.
I had to really
Exactly.
think on that one. That was pretty good, T.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, fellas, before we get out of here, let's get to our pardon shots. Man, we've been getting a lot of good feedback about our pardon shots. A lot of information I get from people that email in is some of the stuff that we talk about and discuss, they hadn't even heard yet. So once they, hear from the show, they go and do their own research and be like, L Train, I didn't even know that was going on. So I'm glad that you guys are talking about it on the show. So let's hit our pardon shots for today. Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first. And this is, not in the world of sports, but we lost another one this past week, and Dr. Danielle Spencer. Remember her from What's Happening? Dee, the
Yes.
little
Yeah,
sister,
Dee.
Roger's little
Yeah.
sister. Oh, I
Yep.
used to love her. And because she reminded me of my little sister, because my little sister used to tell on everything I did. Lionel may have even heard me getting butt whippings next door, when we were growing up. But yeah, Dr. Danielle Spencer, she was a veterinarian, and I didn't know that she lived nearby here in Virginia. She lived in Richmond, Virginia. She was a graduate of Tuskegee Institute back in the day, and then I think she went to med school at UC Davis, but she passed away this week at age 60. So I just wanted to, shout her out. She was great on screen, and she became a professional. Graduating from medical school is a big deal. That's a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah,
So
right.
I'm going to, my parting shot is on her. Rest in power, Queen, and prayers up to her family and those who knew her well and knew her close. Dr.
Yeah.
Danielle Spencer.
Good one, T. A real quick comment, Rob, before you go. Shirley worked in the little diner on that show.
Right.
And I got an opportunity to have a drink with Shirley. She was here
Wow.
in Minnesota for a comedy show special or whatever. And at the time, I was teaching in an elementary school kind of coming up. And she was like, man, you teaching at elementary school? She wavered over to the bartender. She wanted to hear all about it. And bought me a drink, and her and I mean, that was really iconic for me,
That's what's
man.
up.
So,
Wow.
so when I saw that Dee passed away, it was one of the first things that I thought about. Yeah, great
Yeah.
pardon shot.
Wow.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Rod.
that's good. So I want to give a shout out to Venus Williams. She is
Okay.
entering the U.S. Open as a wild card at the age of 44. She is
Wow.
the
Okay.
oldest singles participant that will be in the U.S. Open.
Wow.
And she has not really competed in a pretty long time. So I'm really interested to see, how she competes at 44, because she's still a Williams, okay, and she's still, she's still one of the two greatest women's tennis players in the game. But I wanted to send a shout out because that's hard to, have to be away from the game for so long, but then decide to, go and try it again. So shout out to her, and I'm rooting for Venus Williams. That would be a story
Yeah.
if she won it. Be a story.
Gotcha. Mhm.
What does it mean to be I'm not super into tennis. I'll watch it, but what does it mean to be a wild card, Rob?
So basically, you have to qualify for the U.S. Open. That means you have to win certain events to be able to qualify to be in the U.S. Open. Well, she hasn't competed. She hasn't done that. So she entered herself, and they have something called a wild card, and they genuinely do that for people who've been in the tennis game for a long period of time, people who have some kind of cash in the game. So like if Serena wanted to go into the U.S. Open, they would put her in as a wild card because she's a former U.S. Open winner. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's
makes
all
sense.
that is. She's going in and she's unranked, and so they're going to give her a shot.
Good.
Okay.
Cool.
Can't wait to see that, man. I'm glad you told me about it because I had not heard that. So my eyes are going to be all over that. My pardon shot is Brian Flores had a lawsuit win this week.
Yes.
The appeals court allowed Brian Flores' discrimination case to proceed publicly. And I'm a big Brian Flores guy. He has single-handedly come up to Minnesota and changed the culture of our defense. I think they're going to be, top 3 defense in the league this year, and I don't think they're going to be 3. I look at Brian Flores as sacrificing a lot because here's a guy that could be a head coach right now.
Oh, yeah. Should be a head coach.
Yeah, should be a head coach. And I think as long as this lawsuit is going on, he's not going to get that opportunity. I don't think anybody's going to hire him. I think they're going to go through the motions of bringing him in for interviews and talking to him because, all that good stuff. But until this lawsuit is settled, it is clear that Brian Flores will not get a head coaching job. It's good for the Vikings. But overall, I want to see this guy get another opportunity to coach because people forget he had a pretty good season with the Miami Dolphins. And behind the scenes, he was saying that the Dolphins brass wanted him to tank because they wanted a certain quarterback.
Right.
And that's where that separation occurred. So shout out to Brian Flores. I mean, people don't understand, man. As long as this goes on, he is sacrificing his ability to go out and get a head coaching job.
Yeah.
So pardon shot out to Brian Flores.
And to add to that too, L Train, the NFL, if they were smart, they'll go ahead and settle with him. If not, all that dirty laundry is going to come out. That dirty laundry.
That's right.
All
it's
that dirty laundry.
Out.
Yep. There you go. And speaking of another guy who should have a head coaching job, Byron Leftwich.
Yes.
Byron Leftwich should have a head coaching job. He should.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this, T. And we can have this discussion all day long. But Byron Leftwich and then Eric Bieniemy, for a few years, they had the most prolific offenses in the league.
They sure did.
And they couldn't get head coaching jobs.
They sure did. Exactly.
That's unbelievable to me.
There you go.
But I will say this. The thing about Eric Bieniemy has made a lot of enemies.
Yes, he has. I know that.
He's made a lot of enemies in the NFL. It went from front office people to players. He's not the most well-liked guy. And so
have others too, Rod. So have others. Not to devalue what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I get it.
But so have others. So have others.
But it doesn't mean that if he's not qualified for the job that he shouldn't get it. But, of course, you got to understand, especially for us, we have to be able to conduct ourselves in a certain way. Not bow down, but to conduct ourselves because we understand at the end of the day, the NFL is a business. And so we have to, as we have all interviewed for jobs, we have to understand that you got to come with your best foot forward. So, but I do agree. I think the last legitimate coach, African-American, of course, we have, our guy in Pittsburgh, but it was Tony Dungy. You know what I mean? If you think about it. And so, they put in the Rooney Rule, and now teams have found ways to usurp it because there should be more African-American head coaches in the game. They're out here, and they should be, So, no, I agree.
I thought it was a mistake. I remember when they were talking about, Eric Bieniemy needs to leave Kansas City and go somewhere else so he can prove that he can do it somewhere else. I thought it was a mistake. I believe he went to the Commanders. He left the Kansas City Chiefs, go to Command. And I thought it was the hugest mistake. If I'm him, until I get that head coaching job, I'm staying up under Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, and force people to give me my credit. But he chose to go elsewhere. Then he got jettisoned from the Commanders, and I believe he's still in UCLA, if I'm not wrong.
I think he is,
so.
He's still an offense coordinator at UCLA, so we'll keep an eye on that. Fellas, another great show, man.
All right.
I appreciate it. Another 3 The Hard Way show. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and we're going to continue to put it out there to you. On behalf of the influencer, Mr. Hot Rod Rodney Young, and the captain of our ship,
everybody have a blessed
Terrence
week. Be safe.
You guys have a blessed week, and we'll make sure to see you when we should see you. 3 The Hard Way, fellas.
All right.